Look at you already carrying the weight of the day before you even leave your room. The world hasn't even begun its noise, and yet your mind is running through 100 worries, 1,000 invisible pressures. What if you could walk through storms with calm in your chest? What if you could move through chaos as if stress can't touch you, unmoved, untouchable, quietly strong? That is what we're here to explore. The art of acting as if nothing stresses you. Why does this matter? Because most people are ruled by what happens outside of them. They rise and fall with every problem, every sharp word, every small delay. But what if you could reverse that power so that your mind sets the tone, not your circumstances? What if you could learn the secret that separates those who bend from those who remain standing? How can you master this? By changing the way you respond, not the world itself. By learning the ancient skills of emotional control, silent discipline, and calm reflection, you will discover a strength the world can't shake. Today, you begin the journey not to a life without storms, but to a mind that stands unbothered in the middle of them. 1. You stand at the crossroads of every storm. You stand at the crossroads of every storm, whether you realize it or not. Each morning, the world rises with its demands, its uncertainties, its silent pressures waiting to test you. And you, yes, you must decide who you will be when they arrive. Many crumble before the day even begins. They expect calm seas and are shocked when the winds turn violent. But you must become someone different. Someone who walks into the day already armed, already steady, already prepared to act as if nothing can truly shake you. What does this mean? It means you stop letting your surroundings decide the state of your mind. It means you understand that calm is not a gift the world hands you. It is a strength you forge within yourself. Most people believe peace comes when problems disappear. But a wise person knows the opposite. Peace comes when you stop letting problems control your inner life. If you wait for the world to soften before you breathe easily, you will suffocate long before relief arrives. Why does this matter? Because everything begins in the mind. Stress does not come from events. It comes from your interpretation of them. Two people can face the same hardship. One breaks, the other grows stronger. One fears the storm, the other studies it. One panics, the other acts. The difference is not in the wind, but in the way they stand before it. If you adopt the mindset that nothing can disturb your center, then the world loses its ability to conquer you. You become someone who does not collapse at the first sign of pressure, but someone who uses pressure to rise. But how do you become this person? You begin with awareness. Notice your first reaction whenever something unexpected happens. A delay, an insult, a failure, a disappointment. The untrained mind immediately surrenders, letting emotion flood every corner of thought. But you can learn to pause. That pause is the birthplace of strength. It is the space where you decide whether you will be ruled by fear or guided by reason. Act as if nothing stresses you, not because you ignore reality, but because you refuse to let reality own you. Hold your composure the way a warrior holds a shield. Do not flinch. Do not rush. Let the storm roar while you remain still enough to think clearly. When you stay calm, your mind remains sharp. Your decisions improve. Your energy is saved for action, not wasted on panic. This does not mean you feel nothing. It means you control what those feelings become. You acknowledge them, you understand them, but you do not obey them. Fear knocks. You answer with discipline. Worry rises. You silence it with perspective. Stress presses against your chest. You remind yourself that you are larger than the moment trying to crush you. Every time you act as if nothing stresses you, you train your mind to trust itself. You build strength not through dramatic victories, but through thousands of small refusals to be shaken. Over time, this becomes who you are. People will notice the difference. They will wonder how you stay so composed. how you move through difficulty with the quiet confidence of someone who sees more clearly than they do. But the truth is simple. You chose this path. You chose to meet every storm with a steady gaze. You chose to rise above instinct and walk with intention. You chose to lead your mind instead of letting your mind lead you. And because of that choice, you become untouchable, not because the world grows easier, but because you grow greater. 2. You are not what happens to you. Look closely at your life, the long days, the restless nights, the countless things that happen without your permission. Each moment, life arrives with its own script. Sometimes fortune smiles, sometimes it strikes. Some people will praise you, others will betray you. Plans will unravel just as easily as they form. If you believe these events shape who you are, you will always be at their mercy. But you must learn a higher lesson. You are not what happens to you. You are what you do with what happens. Most people live like leaves in the wind. Each gust, every word, every event, every rumor blows them off course. They believe the story the world tells about them. They allow disappointment, insult, and even a moment of discomfort to become a permanent shadow in their mind. Their moods rise and fall with every change in circumstance. And so, their power remains small, their life forever unsettled. But you can choose another way. The moment you realize you are not defined by what happens around you, a quiet strength begins to grow inside. The storms of life will always come, but you do not have to let them inside your mind. Between event and emotion, there is a space, a moment where you decide what you will allow to shape you. Most people never notice this space. They move from feeling to action without thought, letting old habits decide their fate. But you, if you wish to master yourself, must become aware of this crucial gap. Why is this gap so important? Because every moment you pause, you reclaim your freedom. You show yourself that you are not a puppet of your circumstances. The world may act, but you are not obliged to react. You are free to choose. You are free to slow down, to breathe, to consider the meaning of each event. This is the seed of real power. When you learn to control your response, you become the author of your own story. How do you claim this power for yourself? Begin by watching yourself. When things go wrong, when people disappoint you, when events spiral out of your control, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, stop. Ask yourself, is my response worthy of who I wish to become? If not, choose another way. Do not give away your peace so easily. Do not let stress, anger, or fear become your master. These emotions may visit, but you do not have to serve them. Think of the greatest souls you have ever known, not the loudest, not the most celebrated, but the ones who walk quietly with unshakable dignity. Their strength does not come from an easy life, but from a mind that refuses to be conquered by circumstance. They have learned to step back, to question, to choose. You can become like them. Every day is a chance to practice. Every difficult moment is an invitation to pause, reflect, and decide. Let the world bring what it may. Your calm does not depend on its favor. Your self-respect does not depend on the opinion of others. Your character is not built on applause or approval, but on the quiet decisions you make in the storm. You are not what happens to you. You are what you allow yourself to become. One choice, one response, one day at a time. This is the real freedom most never find. To become the master of your fate by mastering yourself. To stand steady while the world rages. To claim the space between what happens and what you choose to do next. In that space, you find your true power. In that space, you become unbreakable. 3. You must wear the armor of indifference. Think of all the things that seek to disturb your peace, minor annoyances, harsh words, unexpected changes, the daily irritations that seem small, yet multiply when left unchecked. Most people live at the mercy of these slights and setbacks. Their moods shift with the weather. Their confidence falters at the slightest push, and their days are lost to battles not worth fighting. If you do not learn to protect yourself, you will be swept along, just another face in the crowd, ruled by every passing mood. You must choose something higher. You must learn to wear the armor of indifference. This does not mean you stop caring, nor does it mean you become cold or numb. Instead, it means you care deeply about the things that matter and refuse to waste your spirit on things that do not. You cannot allow every inconvenience or offense to pierce your heart. There is too much at stake. Why is this armor necessary? Because the world is relentless. Every day, you will encounter people who try to provoke you, circumstances that do not go your way, events that seem designed to test your patience. If you react to everything, you will soon have nothing left to give. Most people never pause to think, is this worth my energy? They allow every interruption to steal a piece of their strength, and over time, their spirit grows weary and thin. How do you build this armor? Begin with the smallest things. When someone cuts in front of you or speaks to you with disrespect, resist the urge to defend yourself or to strike back. Remind yourself that your dignity does not depend on the opinions of others, nor is your worth lessened by someone else's rudeness. When plans change or problems arise, do not let frustration take root. Pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that your time on earth is too precious to spend in anger over what cannot be controlled. With every act of restraint, you thicken your armor. You teach yourself that you are not here to win every argument, to answer every insult, or to solve every problem. Some things must be ignored, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to choose your battles. You begin to see that the world's chaos loses its grip when you refuse to engage. Most people seek victory in every conflict. You seek victory over yourself. It is not always easy. There will be moments when your patience is stretched thin, when your pride stirs, when old habits beg you to react. In these moments, remember that every reaction costs you something: your peace, your clarity, your focus. Indifference is not neglect. It is discipline. It is the mark of someone who knows the difference between what deserves attention and what deserves only a shrug. Over time, your armor becomes your nature. You walk with a quiet confidence that is hard to shake. Others may try to provoke you, but you no longer dance to their tune. Their drama becomes background noise, unable to touch you. People begin to notice your calm. Some will misunderstand it, calling you distant or aloof. Let them. You know the truth. You have chosen to save your energy for what matters. This is how you rise above the noise and chaos. You do not allow yourself to be tossed by every wave or wounded by every thorn. You become a person who moves through life with purpose, focused on your own path, unbothered by the things that cannot change you unless you let them. This is the armor of indifference, and it is your shield against a world that never stops trying to shake you. 4. You decide what matters and what doesn't. Every day, the world will try to convince you what deserves your worry. News, gossip, urgent voices, endless lists of what must be done. People will ask for your attention, your time, your concern, sometimes with good reason, sometimes only out of habit. Most people answer every call. They rush from one demand to another, never questioning whether these things deserve a place in their mind. Their thoughts become a crowded room, filled with noise, stress, and confusion. It is no wonder they feel exhausted, always on edge. You must learn a new way. If you want to act as if nothing stresses you, you must become ruthless about what you allow into your mind. You decide what matters. You decide what deserves to be carried with you and what should be left at the door. The truth is simple but hard to accept. Not every problem is your problem. Not every fire is yours to put out, and not every voice deserves a place in your thoughts. Why is this important? Because your energy is limited. The more you spend on the meaningless, the less you have for what truly matters. If you let every inconvenience, every criticism, every bit of bad news fill your mind, there will be no room left for peace, purpose, or joy. The world will always have more requests than you can answer, more problems than you can solve. The only way to survive with your spirit intact is to become selective. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. How do you decide what deserves your attention? Start by pausing before you react to anything. When a new worry appears, ask yourself, will this matter in a week, in a month, in a year? If the answer is no, let it go. Remind yourself that your mind is your home. You have the right, even the duty, to keep it clean and orderly. If you allow clutter, you lose clarity. Next, notice how certain worries come not from reality, but from habit. Perhaps you were taught to please everyone, or to chase every opportunity, or to fear every possible outcome. These habits are like weeds in a garden. They grow unless you pull them up by the roots. Begin to question them. Ask yourself whose voice you are really hearing. Is this your concern or someone else's? Is this urgent or just loud? As you practice, you become skilled at sorting your thoughts. Like a craftsman organizing tools, you keep only what is useful. The rest you put away or throw out entirely. Each time you do this, your mind grows lighter. The world's power over you weakens. You begin to see that most of what once upset you was unworthy of your attention. In time, you build a mind that is clear, focused, and peaceful. When stress comes, you do not open the door to it. When drama calls, you let it ring unanswered. Others may wonder at your calm or try to pull you back into old habits. Stand firm. You have learned that your greatest power lies in what you choose not to worry about. So make this your daily practice. Choose what matters and ignore the rest. Guard your attention as the most precious thing you own. You will find that your strength grows, your life becomes simpler, and your spirit remains untroubled, no matter what the world demands of you. 5. You become stronger with every refusal to react. Each day, life sets traps for your peace. You will face interruptions, disappointments, unfairness, and irritation. The urge to react will come quickly like a spark looking for something to burn. Most people give in. They snap back at insults, complain when things go wrong, and let small annoyances build into heavy burdens. Their reactions control them, and so their days are filled with regret and unrest. But there is another way, a harder way, a path for those who wish to rise above the chaos, the refusal to react. Every time you pause, every time you choose not to let a situation pull you off center, you grow stronger. You become more than just a product of your environment. You become the master of your own mind. Why does this matter? Because strength is built in struggle. Every moment you resist the temptation to explode, to defend, or to blame, you gain power over yourself. Most people believe strength means showing force or shouting the loudest. But true strength often looks like quiet self-control, a calm response when everything inside you screams for action. This strength is not natural, it is learned. Like any skill, it requires practice. You start with the little things. Someone is rude to you. Instead of lashing out, you let their words pass through you. A plan is ruined by an unexpected problem. Instead of letting frustration boil over, you take a breath, step back, and ask yourself what you can do next. A delay tries your patience. Instead of complaining, you accept it as an opportunity to strengthen your endurance. At first, these acts of restraint may feel small, almost invisible. No one may notice but you. But do not be fooled. These are the moments that change you. With every refusal to react, you teach your mind that you are in control, not the world around you. Your sense of calm becomes a kind of armor. The more you practice, the thicker this armor grows. This does not mean you ignore your feelings or pretend not to care. On the contrary, you become deeply aware of what you feel, but you refuse to be a slave to those feelings. You allow them to arise, and then you choose what to do with them. You respond thoughtfully instead of reacting blindly. Over time, people will notice the difference in you. They will see how nothing seems to shake your confidence, how you handle setbacks without falling apart, how you respond to criticism without growing bitter or defensive. They may even test your patience, trying to find the edge where you will break. But you will not give them that satisfaction. Your strength is quiet, steady, and true. Each day offers new chances to practice. Each refusal to react is a silent victory, a small step toward becoming unshakable. As you collect these victories, you find that stress loses its power. The things that once provoked you no longer seem so important. Your mind is clearer, your spirit lighter. You stand firm, rooted in the knowledge that you decide how to respond to the world, not the other way around. This is how real power is built, not in grand gestures, but in quiet decisions, not by dominating others, but by ruling yourself. The strongest people are not those who shout the loudest, but those who can keep their peace, no matter the storm. This is the strength you must cultivate, a strength built day by day through every refusal to react. 6. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. Picture your mind as a great house, its doors opening to the world each morning. Thoughts, feelings, and worries line up outside, each one hoping to be let in. Most people leave these doors unguarded. They welcome every anxious thought, every rumor, every doubt, and wonder why their peace is so easily destroyed. But you are meant for something greater. If you want to act as if nothing stresses you, you must become the vigilant gatekeeper of your own mind. Why is this so vital? Because your mind shapes your life. The thoughts you allow in will decide the quality of your days and the direction of your future. Most people believe they are helpless in the face of worry and fear. They accept every anxious thought as truth, letting it spread until it colors everything they do. They become restless, anxious, and easily shaken, not because the world is so powerful, but because their minds are left unguarded. You must choose a different path. Imagine standing at the threshold of your mind, watching each thought that tries to enter. Some are harmless, even helpful. Others come clothed in worry, regret, jealousy, or anger. Not every thought deserves to be welcomed inside. You must learn to question each one. Does this serve me? Is this true? Is this within my control? If the answer is no, do not let it cross the threshold. Leave it at the door. How do you practice this gatekeeping? Begin by noticing the first thought you have when you wake up. Is it filled with dread or hope? Are you replaying yesterday's failures or imagining today's challenges? Before you rise, pause and decide. Today, I will guard my mind. I will choose what thoughts I entertain. When worries arrive about things far outside your control, remind yourself, this is not welcome here. Turn your focus instead to what you can influence, your actions, your words, your attitude. Throughout the day, you will face countless invitations to anxiety, frustration, and distraction. Someone's harsh words may linger in your thoughts. A problem at work may keep circling your mind, or old regrets may try to sneak back in. Each time this happens, stand at your mental door. Do not simply accept the presence of these thoughts. Ask, does this thought build me up or tear me down? Does it point me toward strength or toward worry? Only allow what is useful and true. It is not easy. At first, you will find yourself slipping, letting in thoughts you meant to bar. That is natural. The skill of guarding your mind is built through practice, through noticing and correcting day by day. With every attempt, you grow stronger. Each time you turn away a useless worry, you reclaim a piece of your power. You begin to realize that most of your stress was never about the world, but about what you allowed into your mind. Over time, your mental house becomes a place of order and peace. Others may run from thought to thought, chasing every fear and distraction, but you remain steady. You decide what belongs in your mind, and you refuse to be a victim of every passing worry. So stand guard day after day. Be as careful with your mind as you would with your home. Do not open your door to every knocking thought. In this way, you will discover the true strength and freedom that comes from being the master of your own mind, a gatekeeper who lets in only what deserves to stay. 7. You are not your emotions. Every person wakes up with feelings that seem to rise out of nowhere. Sometimes you feel hope, sometimes worry. There are days when anger or sadness comes before you even step outside. Most people accept these emotions as commands. They believe that if they feel anxious, they must hide. If they feel angry, they must lash out. If they feel sad, they must surrender to despair. But this is not the only way to live. You must learn the ancient lesson that you are not your emotions. You are the one who witnesses them, the one who can choose what to do with them. Why is this knowledge powerful? Because emotions are like weather. They come and go, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy. If you mistake yourself for every passing cloud, you will spend your life in confusion, blown here and there by feelings that are never permanent. But once you understand that emotions are only visitors, you begin to act with intention. You become the master of your fate, not the servant of your moods. How do you claim this mastery? First, pay attention to what you feel, but do not react right away. When anger flashes up inside you, notice it, don't deny it or pretend it isn't there, but pause, step back, as if you are watching someone else. Ask yourself, is this feeling telling me the truth, or is it just noise? Will this emotion help me act wisely, or will it lead me somewhere I'll regret? Most of the time, feelings push us toward actions we later wish we could undo. You can break this pattern. You can decide that just because you feel something does not mean you must obey it. Throughout the day, emotions will try to control your choices. You might feel nervous before a challenge, tempted to quit. You might feel jealousy when someone else wins praise. You might feel hurt when words sting. In every case, remember, feelings are only signals. They are not the whole story. You can choose to act based on your values and reason, not just your mood in the moment. This does not mean ignoring your emotions or pretending you do not feel pain or joy. On the contrary, you must be honest with yourself about what you feel. You must learn to name your emotions, to say, this is anger, or this is fear. But naming is not the same as obeying. You can observe your feelings without letting them drive your actions. You can let the storm pass overhead without letting it carry you away. Over time, this skill grows. Each day you practice not reacting blindly, your self-control deepens. You find that you are no longer so easily shaken. When the world tries to provoke you, you remain steady. When life disappoints you, you do not collapse. When triumph comes, you do not lose yourself in pride. You have learned to walk above the flood, to act from wisdom, not from impulse. Others will notice your calm. They may come to you in their own storms, asking how you remain so composed. The answer is simple, but rare. You know you are not your emotions. You treat feelings as passing guests, not as kings. You welcome what is useful, but you do not surrender your throne. This is the secret to unbreakable strength, not the absence of emotion, but the refusal to be ruled by it. In this way, you build a life that is stable and free, no longer a victim of every feeling that comes and goes. You become the captain of your ship, steady through all seasons, moving forward by choice, not by chance. 8. You must seek discomfort as your teacher. You live in a world that worships comfort. People everywhere chase after ease, softness, and escape from anything difficult. They avoid pain, dodge challenges, and look for the quickest way around every obstacle. This search for comfort seems wise, but it leads to weakness. It turns strong minds into fragile shells, unable to withstand the first real storm. If you want to act as if nothing stresses you, you must become someone different. You must learn to seek discomfort, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Discomfort is the classroom of strength. It is the fire that tempers your will and forges your spirit. Most run from hardship, but you must learn to walk toward it, knowing that the struggle itself is shaping you. Why is discomfort so important? Because real growth cannot happen in comfort. Muscles grow only when they are pushed to their limits. Courage is born only in the presence of fear. Wisdom arrives after many stumbles. If you avoid discomfort, you also avoid your own potential. The world will always contain pain and struggle. But those who seek to grow stronger instead of escaping become immune to fear and worry. They know that every hard experience is a lesson, and every lesson is a gift. How do you seek discomfort in your own life? Start small. Choose to face what you would normally avoid. If you fear speaking up, do it anyway, even if your voice trembles. If your first instinct is to quit when a task becomes difficult, push through and finish. If your body urges you to stop when tired, give a little more. Each act of courage, no matter how small, is a brick in the fortress of your character. Discomfort can be physical, a sore muscle, a long walk, a cold morning, or it can be emotional, like telling the truth when it's easier to lie, or standing up for yourself in a room full of critics. The lesson is always the same. When you move into discomfort, you take control of your story. You refuse to be shaped by fear or laziness. Instead, you are shaped by your own choices. Most people believe happiness is found in comfort, but true happiness is found in progress. There is a satisfaction that comes only from overcoming what once frightened or defeated you. You begin to crave new challenges because you know they are the source of your strength. Every difficult moment survived is a reminder that you can handle more than you thought. There will be setbacks. Sometimes discomfort will win for a moment. You will fail, or you will be tempted to return to safety. That is normal. What matters is not that you never retreat, but that you keep returning to the challenge. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes routine, and what once scared you now feels like an old friend. Those who embrace discomfort become unbreakable. They do not flinch at pain, they do not run from hardship, and they do not fear what the world can throw at them. Their minds are armored, their spirits are forged, and their lives are rich with meaning. The world notices these people not because they avoid trouble, but because they face it head on, undaunted. Let discomfort be your teacher. Each lesson will cost you, but what you gain is worth far more than what you pay. You will become someone who stands tall while others shrink, someone who learns while others run. In the end, you will discover that discomfort was never your enemy. It was your greatest ally on the path to becoming truly strong. 9. You build power in your response, not your reaction. Every day, you will face moments when the world tries to provoke you. Maybe someone insults you, or a sudden setback ruins your plans. Perhaps you receive unexpected bad news or face a challenge you did not choose. Most people react instantly, like a spark jumping to dry leaves, quick, uncontrolled, and sometimes destructive. But you have the chance to do something greater, to build power not in your reaction, but in your response. Why does this matter so much? Because the difference between a reaction and a response is the difference between living as a servant to your emotions and living as a master of your fate. A reaction is immediate and automatic. It is the first impulse, usually driven by old habits, fear, anger, or pain. When you react, you surrender control to the world around you. But a response is chosen. It is thoughtful, measured, and rooted in your values. When you respond, you reclaim power over yourself. How do you develop this ability? Begin by finding the space between what happens and what you do next. This space is often small, a single breath, a brief pause, a moment when you stop and think before you act. The world wants you to fill this space with a reaction, to rush headlong into anger, complaint, or despair. But if you pause, you break the chain. You give yourself the chance to choose. Practice this in small ways. When someone cuts in front of you, pause. Feel the irritation rise, but do not let it speak for you. Take a breath and let it settle. When you receive criticism, do not rush to defend yourself or to attack in return. Instead, listen, weigh the words, and decide what deserves your energy. When plans collapse, resist the urge to panic or complain. Accept what has happened, then ask, what can I do now? Each time you find this pause, you grow stronger. Over time, this practice transforms you. You become less controlled by the moods of others, less shaken by surprise, and less likely to regret your actions. People may try to provoke you, but they find you unshakable. Challenges may arise, but you move through them with calm and purpose. This is not coldness, it is clarity. You have learned to act from your highest self, not from your wounds. This power in your response brings a quiet confidence. Others will notice your calm and begin to trust your judgment. They will look to you when things are difficult because they sense your steadiness. You become a source of strength in a world full of uncertainty. This does not mean you will never feel anger, sadness, or fear. These emotions are part of being human, but you are no longer ruled by them. You feel, and then you choose. You are the one who decides whether to speak or stay silent, whether to hold your ground or move on, whether to let a situation make you bitter or make you better. Building power in your response is a lifelong practice. There will be days when you slip and react out of habit, but each time you catch yourself, each time you pause, you reclaim a little more of your strength. Slowly, your life fills with fewer regrets and more peace. You discover that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can always control how you meet it. This is the way of true resilience, not to be untouched by trouble, but to face it with a calm mind and a deliberate spirit. In every storm, you stand firm, not because the winds are weak, but because you have learned to find your power in how you choose to respond. 10. You are not obliged to play every game. Every day, the world tries to pull you into its battles. There will be arguments, temptations, and countless invitations to conflict. Some people make it their mission to provoke, to drag others into their drama, to bait you into defending yourself or joining a fight that does not belong to you. If you say yes to every invitation, your life will soon be filled with unnecessary struggle and wasted energy. But you do not have to play every game. This truth is both simple and powerful. You are not required to answer every call, to join every fight, or to prove yourself in every arena. Most people do not realize this. They rush into every disagreement, feeling responsible for fixing every problem and responding to every insult. Their days become a series of exhausting skirmishes. They mistake activity for meaning, believing that reacting to everything proves their worth. But it only makes them tired and restless. Why is it so important to learn when not to engage? Because your time, energy, and peace are limited. Every argument you join, every drama you accept, and every battle you fight takes something from you. If you give away your energy to every challenge, you will have nothing left for what truly matters. You become scattered and distracted. always on edge, never able to focus on your own goals and values. How do you practice this restraint? It starts with knowing yourself and what you stand for. You must be clear about your priorities and your path. When a conflict arises, pause before you jump in. Ask yourself, is this my battle? Does this help me become who I want to be? Will it matter a week from now, a year from now? If the answer is no, let it pass. Not every insult requires a response. Not every accusation needs an explanation. Sometimes the strongest move is silence. There will be times when others don't understand. They may call you cold, uncaring, or weak because you refuse to play their games. Let them think what they will. You know the truth. Strength is not measured by how many battles you fight, but by how many you wisely avoid. When you refuse to be dragged into pointless struggles, you save your energy for the things that matter most: your growth, your goals, and your own peace of mind. With practice, this self-control becomes natural. You notice that most of the world's drama is just noise, loud, persistent, and meaningless. You see how many people chase conflict, desperate for attention or validation. You no longer need to join in. Your sense of worth comes from within, not from winning arguments or defeating others in petty contests. As you learn to say no to these distractions, your life becomes clearer and calmer. You are free to focus on what builds you up and what brings you joy. Your relationships become stronger, too, because you are not constantly drained by conflict. People begin to see your calm as a mark of wisdom, even if they do not always understand it. Remember, you are the guardian of your own peace. You decide where your energy goes and which games you play. True strength is found in restraint, in choosing not to respond to every provocation, and in knowing that your value is not tied to the approval of others. The world will always try to draw you in, but you have the power to walk your own path, undistracted and unshaken. 11. You refuse to be defined by the urgency of others. Every day, someone will arrive in your life with their own crisis, their own burning emergency. They rush in, eyes wide with panic, voices raised with worry, hoping that you will feel their fear and catch their anxiety. It is easy to get swept up in this wave of urgency. Most people do. They allow themselves to be carried away by someone else's storm, believing that they must match the emotion, the rush, the sense that everything is falling apart. But you have a choice that most never see. You can refuse to be defined by the urgency of others. Their crisis is not automatically your crisis. Their rush does not have to set the speed of your heart. The world is full of people who believe that if they panic loudly enough, others will join them. Do not let yourself become another voice in the choir of chaos. Why is this discipline so important? Because urgency is a thief that steals your clarity, your peace, and your purpose. When you let the emergencies of others control your mind, you lose track of your own values and your own direction. You begin to live in a constant state of reaction, always behind, always anxious, always at the mercy of whatever shouts the loudest. But you were not born to be tossed around by every wind of urgency. You are here to chart your own course, guided by your own principles. How do you practice this strength? The moment someone tries to hand you their emergency, pause, breathe. Do not answer with panic. Instead, measure the situation calmly. Ask yourself, is this truly urgent? Does it require my immediate action, or can it wait? Is this my responsibility, or is it just noise? Most emergencies are not as urgent as they seem. Many problems are only urgent because someone neglected them or failed to prepare. Do not let the poor planning of others become your constant burden. With each pause, you train your mind to act from intention, not compulsion. You teach yourself to separate real need from manufactured crisis. You become the calm center in every storm, the person others look to when the world seems to be spinning out of control. Your steady presence brings relief and order, even when you say little. This does not mean you never help others. Compassion is still a strength, but you choose how and when to help. You do not let yourself be forced or manipulated by panic. When you do act, you do so from a place of calm and choice, not from fear or pressure. Your energy is too precious to be wasted on every passing alarm. As you master this discipline, you begin to notice something remarkable. The more you refuse to join the rush, the less others expect it from you. People start to respect your boundaries and trust your judgment. Some may try harder to provoke a reaction, but your calm becomes a quiet shield. In time, you realize that your days are lighter. You carry fewer burdens that do not belong to you. Your mind is clearer, your decisions are wiser, and your sense of purpose grows stronger. The urgency of others loses its grip on you. Remember, you do not have to live in the storms that others create. You can choose peace, even when the world chooses panic. This is not indifference, it is mastery. You refuse to be defined by the urgency of others. You move through each day with intention and strength, knowing that your life is yours to direct, no matter how loudly others shout for your attention. 12. You are the master of your inner narrative. Every person carries a voice inside their mind, a quiet narrator that speaks in moments of struggle and success, doubt and hope. This voice shapes the story you tell yourself about who you are, what you are capable of, and how you handle adversity. For most people, this inner narrative goes unnoticed. It is a stream of thoughts formed by old fears, past failures, and the opinions of others. If you do not learn to master this voice, it will master you. Consider how often, when faced with difficulty, your first thoughts are, "I can't handle this," or "I'm not good enough." These words may sound harmless, but they are seeds that grow into beliefs, and those beliefs guide your every decision. If your story is one of weakness or defeat, you will live it out day after day, without ever realizing it is a story you can change. Why does your inner narrative matter so much? Because your mind listens to the words you repeat, and soon those words become your reality. The greatest obstacle to self-control and resilience is not what happens outside you, but what you allow yourself to believe inside. You must learn to notice the story you are telling yourself, especially when stress rises and the world feels heavy. How do you take charge of this story? It begins with awareness. In moments of challenge, listen for the automatic words your mind offers. Are they words of defeat or strength, of blame or responsibility? If you find yourself slipping into self-pity, bitterness, or fear, pause. Remind yourself that you are the author here. You do not have to accept the script handed down by the past or written by other people. Consciously rewrite your narrative. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't handle this," change it to, "I have faced hard things before and survived." Replace "this is too much" with, "I will break this down, step by step." If you hear yourself say, "I am always unlucky," remind yourself, "I create my own fortune through my actions and my attitude." These new sentences may feel awkward at first, but with repetition, they become the new foundation of your mindset. Do not expect perfection. The old voice will not disappear overnight. Doubt and fear may visit, especially when you are tired or disappointed. When they do, recognize them as echoes of an old story you are leaving behind. You do not need to argue or wrestle with every negative thought. You simply remind yourself, "I choose what I believe about myself." Over time, this conscious practice transforms you. Your mind becomes a more supportive place. Challenges become tests to prove your strength, not traps to confirm your weakness. You discover that stress and adversity are not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter, one written by your own hand. People around you will sense the difference. They may ask how you remain so steady, so unbroken by setbacks. The answer is simple, though few will believe it at first. You have learned to speak to yourself with intention. You have claimed the pen from the hands of fear and doubt. You are no longer a passive character in your life. You are the narrator. You decide the tone, the meaning, and the outcome of each scene. Make this your daily practice. Listen to your inner voice, and when you find it telling an old, powerless story, gently correct it. Over time, your new narrative becomes the armor that protects you from stress and the fire that lights your way forward. In this way, you become the master of your inner world and the creator of your own destiny. 13. You practice silence amidst the noise. Everywhere you go, there is noise. It comes from people around you talking, arguing, complaining, offering opinions you never asked for. It comes from the world itself, news, gossip, the endless chatter that fills every waking moment. Most people become used to this noise. They fill every silence with words, fearing what they might discover if things go quiet. They rush to speak, to answer, to fill every empty space, believing that silence means something is wrong. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is the place where true power is born. When you learn to value silence, you begin to hear your own thoughts separate from the voices that surround you. In quiet, you meet yourself as you really are, without the mask you wear for others, without the opinions and demands that try to shape your day. In that stillness, you find clarity. Why is this so important? Because the mind left unguarded absorbs the stress, worries, and drama of others. If you never pause to listen to yourself, your life will become a reflection of everyone else's fears and desires. You will always be pulled in 100 directions, never sure what you really want or who you truly are. Practicing silence means taking time every day to retreat into your own mind, even if only for a few minutes. It means sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and letting the noise of the world fade away. When you feel the urge to fill the silence with words, resist. Notice how uncomfortable it can be at first, how quickly your thoughts jump, how much your mind races. Do not fight this. Let it pass. In time, the discomfort becomes comfort, and you begin to look forward to these moments of quiet. Silence is also a discipline you carry into your interactions with others. When someone speaks to you in anger, do not rush to defend yourself. Let their words hang in the air. Listen without reacting. When drama swirls around you, do not feed it by adding your own voice. Let others argue while you remain still and watchful. Often, you will find that most problems shrink in the presence of silence. Arguments end faster. Tempers cool. People see in your quiet a strength they cannot break. With practice, you become someone who does not panic when things go quiet. You no longer fear your own thoughts. Instead, you welcome them, knowing that in silence, you can separate what is real from what is merely noise. You learn to trust your own judgment, to move slowly and carefully, even when others rush ahead. This power is rare. Most will never develop it. They will mistake your calm for weakness, or believe you are distant or uncaring. Let them. You know that your silence is a sign of discipline, a mark of inner control. You are not avoiding the world, you are mastering your own mind. As you cultivate silence, your days become less crowded, your mind clearer. You respond to challenges with more thought, less impulse. People begin to come to you for guidance, drawn by your steadiness. You become the calm center in the middle of life's storms, the one who listens deeply and answers only when it matters. So make silence a daily habit. Protect it fiercely. In the stillness, you will discover the source of your strength, and you will find that the loudest voices often have the least to say. In your quiet, you will build a peace no noise can disturb. 14. You choose what to remember and what to forget. Your mind is like a room with countless shelves, some crowded with memories that lift you up, others cluttered with moments that weigh you down. Every day, you add to this collection, choosing often without realizing what you carry with you and what you leave behind. Most people let the worst memories take center stage. They replay old insults, failures, and disappointments so many times that the pain feels new again. This habit turns small wounds into heavy burdens, dragging down their confidence and spirit. You must become the careful curator of your mind. If you want to walk through life unbothered by the past, you must decide what stays and what goes. You cannot carry every slight, every embarrassment, every regret. To move forward, you must choose to remember the lessons, not the pain. This choice is not about pretending you were never hurt or denying your struggles. It is about deciding which memories deserve a place in your future. Why does this matter so much? Because your mind shapes your reality. When you allow old pain to replay, you shape your actions and decisions around those wounds. You may hold yourself back from new opportunities because you remember the sting of a past failure. You may close your heart to new friendships because you cannot forget a betrayal. This is how old memories shape new fears and new limits. How do you become the master of what you remember? Start by noticing which memories arise most often, especially when you are stressed or uncertain. Ask yourself, does this memory make me stronger or does it keep me stuck? If it only brings you pain and no lesson, let it go. When you notice yourself replaying a moment of embarrassment or failure, pause. Remind yourself that moment is over. I am not defined by my worst day. Choose to remember what you learned, not just how you suffered. Forgiveness plays a powerful role in this process. Sometimes the memories you carry are tied to what others have done to you. You may think holding on protects you, but it actually keeps you locked in the past. Forgiving is not saying what happened was right. It is choosing not to carry the burden any longer. Forgive others and also forgive yourself. You are not the same person you were yesterday. Allow yourself to grow. With practice, you will notice your mind becoming lighter. There will be more space for hope, courage, and new experiences. Your confidence will grow as you build a mental library filled with lessons, strengths, and victories instead of regrets and old pain. When challenges arise, you will draw on memories of how you have survived before, not on moments that made you doubt yourself. People around you may still live in the shadow of their past. They may not understand how you have learned to move so freely. Some may even try to remind you of your failures or stir up old pain. Stay firm. You know that your future is not found in the stories of what hurt you, but in the wisdom you gained and the healing you chose. So make it your daily practice to curate your mind. Choose memories that help you grow and let go of the rest. Each day, release something that no longer serves you. In this way, you clear a path for new growth, deeper peace, and a life no longer controlled by the weight of yesterday. The past can teach you, but it should never own you. Remember what strengthens you, and let the rest drift quietly away. 15. You turn obstacles into proof of strength. Life will always bring obstacles. There is no path without difficulty, no story without conflict. Some people see these obstacles as curses, unfair, cruel, and pointless. They ask, "Why me?" when problems arrive. They wish for an easier journey and wait for someone to rescue them. This way of thinking leaves them helpless, tossed by every storm and broken by every setback. But you must learn to see challenges differently. Each obstacle is not a punishment, but a chance to prove your strength. Every time you face something difficult, you are offered a test, and in passing that test, you become someone new. Instead of shrinking from difficulty, you meet it head on, knowing that overcoming it is what builds your courage and confidence. Why is this mindset so powerful? because it puts control back into your hands. When you see every problem as an opportunity to grow, you stop feeling like a victim and start acting like a creator. You understand that growth comes not from what is easy, but from what stretches you beyond your comfort. A life without challenge is a life without progress. When you accept this, you stop wishing for ease and start seeking out the lessons hidden in hardship. How do you put this into practice? Begin with the next challenge you face, large or small. Instead of complaining or feeling sorry for yourself, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I become better because of it? If you stumble or fail, do not waste energy on regret. Instead, search for the lesson. Remind yourself that failure is not the end. It is the training ground for success. The strongest people are not those who never fall, but those who get up every time and move forward with greater wisdom. When a challenge comes, face it with determination. Do not run from discomfort. If you feel fear, let it be the signal that growth is near. If the obstacle seems too large, break it into smaller pieces and tackle them one by one. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a victory over weakness and doubt. Keep a mental record of these victories. Let each one remind you, I have faced hard things before and I am stronger because of them. Remember, too, that your obstacles are unique to your journey. Do not compare your challenges to those of others or feel less because your struggle is different. Each person is tested in their own way, and the lessons are always personal. Focus on your own growth. Ask yourself regularly, am I stronger than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you are moving in the right direction. Others may try to discourage you or tell you that you cannot overcome what is in front of you. Let their doubts become fuel for your determination. The world is filled with people who gave up when things got hard. Choose to be one who grows stronger instead. Your scars are not signs of weakness, but proof of battles fought and survived. With time, you will come to see that the things you once feared are now the very stones on which you stand tall. Obstacles that seemed impossible become memories of triumph. You will look back and realize that your strength was built not in the easy times, but in the hard moments when you refused to give up. So when life puts a wall in your way, see it as a challenge sent to make you stronger. Each obstacle is a test and a teacher. Meet it with courage. Pass through it with wisdom. In the end, your journey will be marked not by what stood in your way, but by how you rose above it again and again. 16. You find freedom by embracing limits. All around you, people fight against what they cannot control. They rage at the weather, curse their luck, blame others for the pain and struggles that come their way. They exhaust themselves trying to bend the world to their will, believing that true freedom means having power over everything. But this is a battle that cannot be won. The truth is, no one can control the world. No one can change the past or force every outcome to match their wishes. The harder you push against what cannot be moved, the more frustrated and powerless you will feel. You must learn a different lesson, the lesson of accepting limits. Instead of fighting the immovable, you choose to work with it, like a sailor who sets his sails to catch the wind rather than shouting at the storm. Real freedom is not found in trying to control what is beyond your reach. It is found in mastering what is within your grasp, your own choices, your own thoughts, and your own actions. Why does this bring such power? Because the mind at war with reality will never know peace. When you accept that some things are fixed the past, the nature of other people, the changing seasons, you stop wasting energy on the impossible. You begin to pour your attention into what you can actually influence. You become more focused, more disciplined, and more creative. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing clearly. It means letting go of resentment and frustration so you can move forward. How do you embrace limits in your own life? Start by noticing what truly belongs to you and what does not. Can you change someone's heart? No. Can you stop the rain from falling? No. But you can control your response. You can choose patience instead of anger. You can find lessons in your hardships. When something happens that is out of your control, a sudden loss, a harsh word, a missed opportunity, pause, breathe. Remind yourself, I did not choose this, but I can choose what I do next. Each time you practice this, you will notice a change. The weight of frustration will begin to lift. The urge to blame or complain will grow weaker. You will spend less time fighting what cannot be changed and more time building the life you want within the space you have. This is not a surrender to fate. It is a commitment to your own growth and freedom. Acceptance opens new doors. When you stop pushing against the unchangeable, you see new opportunities where you once saw only obstacles. You become flexible, able to adapt to life's surprises. People will notice your calm in difficult moments. They may wonder why you do not seem troubled by things that make others anxious. The answer is simple. You have learned to embrace your limits and work with them, not against them. Over time, this attitude will shape your entire life. You will be less bothered by the things you cannot control and more focused on what truly matters. You will waste less energy on resentment and spend more on improvement and joy. You will find yourself free in a way that most people never experience, not because the world finally gave you everything you wanted, but because you stopped needing it to. Remember, true strength is found in knowing where your power ends and your acceptance begins. Embrace your limits, and you will discover a freedom deeper than anything control can give. You will live with more peace, more purpose, and more power to create the life you want, right where you are. 17. You reclaim power in the smallest decisions. Most people think greatness is built by grand gestures, by one huge risk, a single brave stand, or some life-changing moment of courage. They wait for a dramatic opportunity, believing real strength shows up only in the spotlight. But in truth, your power is not decided by what you do once in a lifetime. It is shaped every day, in the smallest choices you make when no one is watching. Every morning you wake up to a series of decisions. Will you get out of bed when you said you would, or press for a few more minutes of sleep? Will you eat what fuels your body, or reach for easy comfort? Will you start your work with focus, or drift into distraction? Each of these small moments is a crossroads. Alone, they seem insignificant, but together, they shape your character, your habits, and your destiny. Why are these small decisions so important? Because they are the training ground of your will. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you cast a vote for the person you wish to become. Every act of self-control, no matter how minor, is like adding a brick to the foundation of your strength. Most people let their mood decide these moments. If they feel tired, they quit early. If they are annoyed, they snap. They believe their feelings are in charge, but you must learn otherwise. You reclaim your power by noticing these crossroads and choosing with intention. When frustration rises, pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, is this who I want to be? When you want to give up, remind yourself of your goals. When a lazy option appears, choose action instead. If your room is messy, clean it. If your work feels dull, finish it anyway. If a friend needs help and you feel too busy, offer your hand. These decisions seem small, but each one is a line drawn in the sand, a statement that you control your life, not your impulses. How do you develop this awareness? Start by paying attention to your habits. Track the choices that are hardest for you: waking up, studying, exercising, being kind when you're annoyed. Challenge yourself to win the next small decision. Celebrate each victory, no matter how minor. Over time, you will notice your confidence growing. You trust yourself more because you see yourself follow through. Other people may not notice these quiet acts of discipline, but you will feel the results. Your days become more organized, your mind clearer, and your goals more achievable. Stress fades because you know you are building strength with every choice. When a big test comes, an emergency, a confrontation, a true crisis, you are ready. You have spent days, months, even years preparing for that moment through your small daily victories. Never underestimate the power of these decisions. Greatness is built one brick at a time by refusing to let your moods and excuses rule you. Most will drift through life, pushed by whatever feels easiest in the moment. But you can be different. By mastering the small moments, you set yourself apart. You become reliable, disciplined, and strong in ways that cannot be faked. So each day, look for your crossroads. When the choice appears, pause and choose well. Let your small actions prove to yourself that you are worthy of trust and respect, most of all, your own. This is how you reclaim power in the smallest decisions and how you quietly build a life of strength, honor, and unshakable self-control. 18. You make solitude your fortress, not your prison. Many people are afraid to be alone with themselves. They fill every empty moment with noise, company, or distraction, believing that solitude is something to be avoided. They fear what they might hear in the silence, or what they might feel when there is no one else around. This fear leads them to run from their own thoughts, and over time, they become strangers to themselves. But if you want to act as if nothing stresses you, you must turn solitude from something to escape into something to embrace a fortress that builds your strength, not a prison that weakens your spirit. Solitude is the rarest and most valuable training ground. It is where you meet your real self, without the masks you wear for others and without the opinions that fill the air around you. In solitude, there is nowhere to hide from your own thoughts, your dreams, your fears, and your regrets. This honesty can feel uncomfortable, even painful, but it is in this discomfort that true growth begins. Why is solitude so important for building inner strength? Because only when you are alone do you truly see what is inside you. Without the distractions of others, you discover your real values, your real weaknesses, and your real sources of courage. The world cannot give you the answers you seek. Friends, mentors, and family may offer advice, but the decisions that matter most must be made in the quiet chambers of your own mind. When you practice solitude, you learn to trust yourself. You begin to rely on your own judgment, your own standards, and your own inner compass. How do you make solitude your fortress? Start by spending a little time each day alone, without any distractions. Sit quietly, go for a walk, or simply lie on your bed with nothing but your own thoughts. At first, you may feel restless, bored, or even anxious. Your mind will race with worries or replay old conversations. Do not run from this discomfort. Let it wash over you. With time, the racing thoughts will slow. The silence will become familiar, and you will begin to notice patterns in your thinking. You will see where your mind goes when no one is guiding it but you. In these moments, ask yourself honest questions. What am I afraid of? What do I truly want? Where have I let others steer my life instead of making my own choices? Write down your answers if you wish, or simply let them echo inside you. The more you do this, the less power your fears will have. You will start to see that many of your anxieties lose their strength in the light of self-examination. Making solitude your fortress also means not relying on others for your happiness or sense of worth. While relationships and community are important, your peace should not rise and fall with the approval or attention of others. When you know how to be content alone, you become stronger among people. You are less likely to be swayed by their moods, opinions, or demands. You can offer real friendship and support because you are not trying to fill a void inside yourself. In time, solitude will become your place of renewal. When the world becomes loud, confusing, or demanding, you will retreat to your inner fortress, not to hide, but to regain your balance and strength. Others may see solitude as loneliness, but you know it as the foundation of resilience. From this place, you can face the world with confidence and calm, knowing that no matter what happens outside, you are secure within. So do not fear being alone. Practice solitude until it becomes your strongest ally. In your quiet moments, you will discover a well of power and peace that nothing in the world can touch. Solitude is not your prison. It is the fortress that guards your spirit. 19. You guard your time as your most precious asset. Every day, you are given the same treasure as the richest and most powerful people in the world, time. Each morning, you wake up with a new supply, not knowing how much you truly have left. Most people treat their time as if it were endless. They waste it on things that do not matter, give it away to whoever asks loudest, and fill their days with distractions, regrets, and busy work. Only when it is nearly gone do they realize its value. But you can choose differently. You can learn to guard your time like the rarest, most precious asset you own. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Money, possessions, and even reputation can be lost and rebuilt, but every minute wasted is gone forever. This is why you must become fiercely protective of your hours. Decide each day to spend your time on what truly matters, not just on what is urgent, but on what is important for your growth, happiness, and purpose. Why is this so crucial for a life of strength and peace? Because how you spend your time shapes who you become. If you give your time to negative people, endless arguments, or pointless distractions, you will never have enough left for your real goals. If you fill your schedule with things that do not feed your mind or soul, you will end up empty and exhausted. Guarding your time is not selfish, it is wise. It is a commitment to your best self and a promise to your own potential. How do you protect your time in a world that always wants more from you? Start by becoming aware of where your hours go. At the end of each day, look back. Did you invest your time, or did you just spend it? Did you move closer to your goals, or did you let others control your schedule? Begin to say no to what does not align with your values or purpose. You do not owe your time to everyone who asks for it. You do not have to attend every event, answer every message, or solve every problem presented to you. Instead, prioritize. Choose what deserves your best energy. Wake up each day and decide the 2 or 3 things that matter most, and give those your focus. When distractions come, and they always will, remind yourself that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something meaningful. It is your right and responsibility to protect your time from theft, even if the thief is your own habit of procrastination or pleasing others. Guarding your time also means making space for rest, reflection, and solitude. Do not let the world convince you that being constantly busy is the same as being successful. Sometimes the most powerful use of your time is in doing nothing, sitting quietly, thinking, or simply enjoying the moment. This is where clarity and inspiration are born. Over time, as you become the guardian of your hours, you will notice a shift. You feel less overwhelmed, less resentful, and more in control of your own story. The people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. Your confidence will grow, not because you did more, but because you spent your time on what truly counted. Remember, your time is your life. It is the canvas on which you paint your days, the resource that builds your dreams. Guard it, spend it with care, and offer it only to what is worthy. In doing so, you shape a life of meaning, direction, and peace, one that reflects your highest priorities every single day. 20, you become unshakable by living true to your principles. There will come a time when your beliefs are tested. The world will push you, tempt you, or pressure you to betray what you know is right. In moments like these, most people choose the easy path. They change their story to fit in, compromise their standards to please others, or break their promises to avoid discomfort. They tell themselves it is only for a moment, but with every small betrayal, their sense of self becomes weaker and their confidence fades. You must choose a different path. If you want to act as if nothing stresses you, you must anchor yourself in principles that do not bend. Your values are the roots that hold you firm in every storm. They are the quiet rules that guide your choices when no one else is watching. Living true to your principles does not mean you are perfect or never make mistakes. It means that, above all, you are honest with yourself and committed to being the person you claim to be. Why is this so important? Because the world changes constantly. People's opinions, the rules of society, and even your own feelings can shift from day to day. If you build your life on things that move, you will always feel unstable and anxious. But when you build your life on timeless values, honesty, respect, courage, self-control, kindness, you create a foundation that nothing can shake. How do you live by your principles in a world that rewards shortcuts and quick wins? It begins by deciding what truly matters to you. Take time to write down your core values, the qualities you admire, the standards you want to uphold. Be specific. When faced with a hard choice, ask yourself, does this action fit with my principles? Am I proud of this choice? Even if no one ever sees it, you will be tempted. There will be moments when the wrong path seems easier or more profitable. Some people will try to talk you out of your standards or make you feel foolish for holding firm. At these times, remember that your character is measured not by what you say, but by what you do when it is hardest to stand alone. True strength is quiet. It is found in the small moments of honesty, the silent acts of courage, and the quiet refusals to give up what is right for what is easy. If you stumble or make a mistake, do not hide or make excuses. Acknowledge it, learn from it, return to your path. Living by your principles does not mean never failing. It means never giving up on trying to do better. With each test, you become stronger. Each time you hold to your values, you build unshakable confidence in yourself. Others will notice your integrity. They may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. Some will seek your advice, drawn by your consistency and calm. You become a source of trust, not because you are loud or dramatic, but because you are steady. Your life becomes an example not of perfection, but of quiet strength. In the end, living by your principles is the only path to true freedom. You are no longer controlled by what others think or what they demand. You are guided from within. Your conscience is clear. When storms come, you stand firm, rooted in values that do not change with the wind. This is the secret to becoming truly unshakable, a person who meets every challenge with calm, who faces every test with courage, and who builds a life that endures no matter what the world throws your way.